guys. Today we have Donnie Adkins. Now, Donnie used to be in the corporate world and kind of phased out, and now he's doing his own thing. So we're going to learn a little bit about like what skills he had from the corporate world that like he was able to apply to this business, how he grew his business, some trial and error. I'm sure, like everybody makes mistakes. I made plenty as a new realtor, and we're going to talk about all those things. Then we're going to answer any kind of questions. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. First of all, I know Lauren can't cut this out. So I just wanted to thank Lauren because she puts up all these videos, sends out the emails, edits everything. She's the best. She got reelected and she was well worthy. I think she was the #1 vote getter if I had to guess. So deserving. Okay, so Donnie, tell us more about you. How did you, what were you doing before you got into the industry?
All right, so I'm originally from Louisville, born and raised, but I moved to Indianapolis about 10 years or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
Up in Indianapolis, my background is in procurement and supply chain. So got to Indianapolis, met a girl, we dated for a couple of years, she became a fiance. We moved to Durham, North Carolina, so she could finish up some schooling. And we ended up, she had a house in Indianapolis, and we ended up coming to Louisville about 7 years ago. So,
question?
I'm sorry?
Can I ask you a weird question? Have you ever ate at Big Hoffa's? It's my favorite barbecue joint in Indianapolis. It's a pirate-themed barbecue joint, but it's so good.
Doesn't sound familiar.
I think it's in, is there like a Westerville or something? Like, is that a real place?
Yes, yes.
I think it's in Westerville.
Okay.
But if you're ever out there, you should check it out.
I'm in Indianapolis because our family's from there. I'm there at least, well, before COVID, we were there at least once or twice a month. So
they've blown up that what is it? Not the spillway, but is it like the river or what is it? But that
the Riverwalk,
that area is blown up.
And the housing prices are ridiculous. We'll get there one day, but
oh yeah, hopefully not too long. And I think our market will have to migrate a little bit more towards Indiana, like southern Indiana. Okay, so you're in the corporate world. You moved to Durham. Moved back.
Came back to Louisville. I worked for Papa John's corporate, so global supply chain leader for Papa John, and things were great. I was in corporate, but the one thing that kept nudging at us is that we owned a house in Indianapolis, so technically we were landlords, and trying to landlord from afar lets me know that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in a far away landlord. So I was like, well, you know what? We can actually afford this house. I wonder what would happen if we bought a house here in Louisville, Kentucky, and what would that look like? So our first buy was 1516 Cedar Street. We purchased that house. It was a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We purchased it for around $22,000. We put another $5,000 into it, and we rented. The mortgage was around $125, $126. And rent was $720 or $725.
$600 in cash flow on your
cash flow automatically.
Not the other one. You're basically your first rental. Like people.
First rental, just automatic cash flow.
3 times that.
How
did you find that deal? What made you make it?
Just looking on the MLS. So granted, this was about 5-6 years ago. So just looking on the MLS, and I have a thing that I still live by. I told my wife, I said, could we afford to buy a Kia? And she said, could we afford to buy a Kia? And she was like, we could, but why do you want to drive a Kia? I said, I don't want to drive a Kia, but a Kia is about $25-30,000. So if I can make a payment on a Kia and it's within our budget, I can probably make money on a house for over a 15-year term instead of a 5-year term. We had excellent credit. We had some dollars, floating around in the bank. And so we literally stepped out there. I didn't know anything about Korea. I didn't know anything about, landlording on autopilot. I didn't know any of this stuff. All I knew was I can fix a few things and, I'll dip my toe out in the water and see what happens.
Donnie, real quick, can you give me the address? I want to see how much it's appreciated since when you bought it.
Probably not much. 1516 Cedar, Cedar Street.
Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, we'll keep going. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
thought it would be because I don't think people realize like how much value there is in having multiple properties for appreciation.
Oh yeah.
I
You
will
know,
put that point across today.
so this is one of those ones. The appreciation may not be a lot.
On a side note, is it a 1-bedroom, 2-bath?
It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
It's already shortchanging you.
Yeah. What does it say?
Well, I'm running the comps right now. I just thought, what did you purchase it at again?
Around 22, 23 grand.
Okay, and this was how many years ago?
6.
6. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. Ironically, there's not a ton of sales right there.
Yeah, it's probably not a ton.
I'm gonna.
Street.
My guess right now is it's appreciated about $20,000.
That's fantastic. I don't think we have a note on this particular house, but we had the renter that was paying $725 in that house stayed there for about 3 years, and now we have a Section 8 tenant in the house, and Section 8 is paying us $982 per month. So all of that's just all cash flow.
So not only is rent, I mean, well, you don't have a payment on it. Now you're just cash flow.
No payment on it.
Free money. People hate when I say free money, but that's free.
Yeah, that's free money.
Essentially. And it's guaranteed because you're doing is it 90% on this? On the rent, or are you getting the whole Section 8 check?
So this one's 92%. So we have a property management company that takes 8%.
Yeah, that's well worth it. Okay, so your new number on this house, without me seeing it, just your after repair value, is $43,894.
That's fantastic.
If you had 10 houses, was that about 20,000, maybe 25,000 appreciation?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 25,000 guys. If you had 4 houses, that's an extra $100K of appreciation. Like, that's insane. So that's like, I don't know, you could refinance every couple of years and pull half that out.
Yeah. And so after a while, I moved on jobs. I ended up working at the mayor's office for a couple years, and I managed all the city's grant funds for housing. So I understood what was going on in some of the neighborhoods. And at the same time, on the back end, real estate was just calling my name. I was just immersing myself with everything real estate. About 2 years ago, I took a leap and I said, all right, I'm done with the 9-to-5 grind. We have enough passive income that is coming in. And of course, my wife just had our first child. So it was a perfect time for me to just go ahead and exit stage left from corporate America. And I have been doing real estate full time for about 2 years now. As a matter of fact, 2 years as of about 2 weeks ago.
And how many doors do you have within 2 years?
We are at
matter, guys, but it's important you got to have some.
Yeah. We are at 13, including Indianapolis, about 13 doors, and that is not counting the 3 flips we've done this year.
And so are you just rolling those flips into like bigger units, or what are you doing? You're like,
no.
So
yeah, we, as of right now, we've kept that income. Our main bread and butter is just buy and hold. I like that residual income coming in every month. Unlike Frank Miller, who is, the buy and sell king, like, I get kind of antsy, especially once the house is fixed up, because I think about how much it'll appreciate later on down the line. And I was like, do I want that 40 grand today, or do I want it later?
Yeah.
And so I kind of go back and forth on that a lot.
Luke Neubauer's curse is he's like,
yeah.
I don't want to get rid of anything I ever start. He's like, I plan on selling stuff, and I'm like, we're just gonna keep it, but that's basically just about like buying, right?
Right.
It sounds like you're doing a good job on that. On Frank's call, you mentioned that like just reflecting after Frank's class and like another deal, like you could have saved a lot of money if you like on a previous deal. Like I don't know what you said, but it was pretty significant amount. Like if you had done the deal over after Frank's class, it's relative to before.
Yeah. So Frank's class has taught a whole lot. Like I felt like we knew enough to be sort of dangerous. When we took Frank's class, oh man, it just opened up so many doors for us. I'll give you a for instance of a deal that we got in bad. In West Louisville, I purchased a deal. It was off of 28th Street. If anybody's familiar with 20th and Broadway, there's a Pizza Hut on that corner. In the back of that Pizza Hut, it sits like a little cul-de-sac, and it has about 7 or 8 homes in that cul-de-sac. We bought one of the homes with the
Hey, Donnie, I might be an idiot, but I think you might be cutting out.
oh,
So last I heard is you were, I don't know if you said you were interested in purchasing one of the 7 houses in the cul-de-sac?
correct. So
Oh no, you cut out again.
let's move locations.
Yeah, no, Eric George had the same problem when I had him on the last call.
Technology.
No.
Better?
No, I think so. Well, we'll see. Give it a second. Right now, it's good.
So this particular house, this particular cul-de-sac, we wanted to purchase all the homes in that cul-de-sac, so we could have, basically we can own a block.
Which is kind of a neat, like Daddy Warbucks kind of move, right? Like, just buy. I'm gonna buy the whole block.
Really thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, well, this is what they do in Monopoly. So I'm going to basically do a Monopoly. But essentially, I was still green. I was very, very.
You're cutting out again.
Unfortunately, I paid too much money. Is that better?
No problem.
It's technology.
I know. It happens to me too. My phone's been running super slow lately. I'm like, gosh.
Paid a lot of money for that place, and unfortunately, we sold it at a loss. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I will never do that again.
What didn't you look for, numbers wise? Like, what didn't you that caused you to stumble?
So in the beginning, we were not looking at numbers. We were just really looking at cheap properties to pick up. So we did not look at that in the beginning. Now, I'm probably not going to buy a place unless it's 1,000 square feet. And not because that's what I like, 1,000 square feet. It's because more often than not, I've seen a lot of investors around town talk about don't buy anything less than 1,000 square feet. And that has, when we picked that up, I've been really successful at not buying anything less than 1,000 square feet. I am a Frank Miller student, so of course I like Shively, I like PRP, I like Valley Station, and I like Newburgh also. So
I love Newburgh. The appreciation of it is like crazy.
Not only the appreciation, I'm just thinking of, one, can I make money off of it? And if that's true, how much is it going to cost me on the fix-up costs? So Newburgh is really good for that because, as we all know, a lot of those, not all, but a lot of those houses have slabs.
And they're ranches and they're brick. You really don't have to worry about the exterior, sans the roof.
Yeah, at all. So I'm walking in day one, some carpentry, some doors, some paint, possibly a roof, maybe a HVAC system. And I don't have to waterproof anything. So that makes me very happy.
So one thing I see some of my clients, I have to remind them is that the numbers look really good, for a BRRRR, but the rentometer or rentometer, I'll never know. It doesn't match up yet. The rent hasn't caught up with the property. You've seen that kind of Shelby Park. Newburgh's probably you can buy pretty well over there. So it's, you can probably cash flow and stuff, but I think as prices go up, it's going to be tougher to cash flow.
Yeah. A lot of what we do is I'm one of those landlords that I'm still okay with accepting Section 8. Well, of course, within reason, is because I know that those Section 8 rents are going to be way higher, of course, than my mortgage. I think the highest mortgage we have right now is around 580, 590. That's the highest mortgage. And that particular mortgage is paid for by a Section 8 renter at $1,217 a month. I'm not going to find it in the market. Yeah. It's just, and I tell people those, go ahead.
Well, okay, so on the Section 8, the reason there's been kickback on it is because like they're just kind of dinging. They got too lax and then they tighten back up. But if you're putting out a good product and a clean product, it's like, why wouldn't you do Section 8?
I'm going in, and not only am I trying to wow the tenant, I'm actually trying to wow the inspector who is going to be there.
That's why you're a great landlord.
Yeah, well, I try to be. So I'm trying to wow the inspector, and I'm hoping, my bet is I'm betting on that inspector walking in thinking of, I'm going to see a raggedy this, and the walls are going to be, not in good shape. And when he or she walks in, they see something totally different. So they're already, even if they ding me on something small, which I've been dinged on something small, we just happened to have a renter who moved into one of our units, and they dinged me on the gate. The gate didn't latch all the way. The guy told the property manager, it's like, hey, I'm gonna pass this. Just send me a text message saying, hey, this gate is fixed, and you guys don't have to worry about anything.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, it can be a process, like coming back and forth, and you have to pay for inspection. But no, I think it's good, and I think you're going to see more people getting back into Section 8 because it just
makes financial sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now, anyway.
And I mean, especially on like BRRRRs, I mean, if you plan on holding them for a couple of years, like it just seems to make a lot of sense. And the BRRRRs, you're already going to have the property in like pretty good shape. So
Absolutely.
What's your, I mean, okay, I think we're all kind of addicted to this stuff, but what's your end game? Like, where do you want to get with this?
Well, initially it was commercial property, but with everything going on, I was like, all right, what type of commercial property? I was asked that question a while ago. I would love a building with my name on it.
I think that'd be so cool.
Just a building with my name on it that it's a commercial building. It's like, hey, we're going to go to the Adkins building and we're going to rent space. Like that would be awesome. Well, especially if I have to do it.
Your name translates well to that. Like no one wants to go to the Bergeron building. It does kind of roll. Gosh, but I think that's great. My buddy, one of my clients, just named it's a mixed use, but he named it. It's in basically going into Butchertown off Frankfurt Avenue, and it's called the Benson. I was like, that's pretty. Named it after his son. And I was like, that's kind of a cool legacy, and like And then I don't know. I think when you do name buildings, like they get more of a reputation, than just being another building.
That's definitely the end game. We are one of the things that we've started to do. We haven't done one yet. I know there's a big thing with lease options now. Mm-hmm. We're looking into what lease options look like because eventually we're going to be buying more property. It's like, do we hang on to all of those properties or do we allow folks to basically become homeowners at some point? Like, I'm okay if you want to rent from me for 20 years, but I'm also okay if you want to buy it in 5 or 10 years. Yeah. Like, because I'm going to go find more property. But if you can take one off my hands, it's helping me out tax wise, and I make a couple bucks at the end of the day.
Like for people that are new, can you explain why they'd be helping you out tax wise for the new people? Can you explain how they would be helping you out tax wise for the new people?
Well, so technically you can only keep a house for so long. I'm not the CPA of the family, but and I don't remember.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Yeah.
So I'm not the CPA, but you can only keep a house for so long before the appreciation is gone. And tax-wise, these houses are going to have to rotate. So if I can give that house, if I've gotten everything out of that house, and I'm not trying to squeeze it super dry, but if I've gotten enough out of that house and I can sell it to Rob, who needs a house, like that's that win-win.
Mm-hmm. And by holding it for a couple of years, you're paying short-term or long-term capital gains instead of short-term.
Yeah.
You're not getting dinged at 30%.
And that's the reason I don't really care about flipping all the time. I mean, I like to see that check after 3 or 4 months, but I don't want to see the tax bill.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it'll get you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So you're ultimately going to get a commercial building. And if I had to guess, like, I think the smartest moves right now would be multifamily, because people might be wanting to get out right now. And then self-storage is obviously really, really sexy. And then warehouse space is it's not as cool to put your name on it, but the overhead's so cheap, and the price per square foot on warehouses has gone up astronomically. There's this really weird, well, it's not weird, I don't know why you call it weird, but there's something going on with Amazon where they're trying to create this connection, sort of. I mean, we have highways, but like between Louisville, Cincinnati, and then Columbus, and I don't know, so they're going to be lining those with warehouses, and so in between. So I don't know. I think warehouses would be another one to consider. Okay. So
no.
What?
I said that's good to know. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's pretty neat. So okay, so some people, they show up at Korea, and like you have those people who want to get 100 houses, and then you have people like, I'd rather have 10 houses, but they're all paid off, so they're all cash flowing. Like, what was when did you make a decision, or have you made a decision on which way you want to go with it?
So the first decision after our first house or two, I determined that it was time for me to leave my job. Like, I liked what I was doing, but I felt like I could do that by myself. I was giving my company millions of dollars. I was like, if I can save millions of dollars, I wonder if I can go make millions of dollars. So I decided to, do whatever most other savvy investors do. I figured out what my end goal was. And as soon as I had that end goal, I still teetered around a few months in corporate America, but then eventually I left. And I've reached my goal, I left. Now, we buy houses as they come up. Like if I see a good house, and I just closed on one Monday at Borders. So, now that the houses are coming, but that was ultimately my goal. It was like, how many houses do I need? That's going to be my end number, and I'll quit. At this point, I don't really have a goal per se, as far as like, do I want to hit, 50 houses, 100 houses? I don't. That's not really the goal as of right now. Yeah, the goal, if they're coming up, like my last three well, not the one we just closed on Monday, but the last three before those were all off-market deals. I mean, I was looking, someone brought it to my attention, and we bought them. So
that's the way, and it's all about who you know.
Yeah, it's all about and having a great team around you. The last two deals, my real estate agent bought. So, and she's fantastic in this space, and she knew people who knew people, and before they even hit the market, she brings them to me.
That's a plug. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you had the issue right now? I had, like, let's say my 10 closest friends from like elementary school and like high school and college.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like only 3 of the 10 are really buying into like, financial independence, retirement. Like they all have jobs and 401ks, but like they don't have the itch. And like we're usually everybody in this club. I mean, we're all so pumped. We want to talk about it with everyone else. Like we're kind of addicted. Like, have you had any problems explaining to your friends like the value in it and like getting them on board? Like one guy I've been working on it. Like I keep on having other friends approach him from other sides, like, hey, you should think about this. It's like my wife doesn't work anymore because we have so many rentals or whatever. But have you had that problem too?
You know what? Honestly, no. I think when people saw that we were initially buying houses, like I said, even before I knew anything about Korea, I used to talk about the cash flow, and I would tell people, just think if you had an extra $500 or $600 just laying around at the end of the month that you don't have to do anything with, that is just coming in automatically. But people really, they perked up when I quit my job because, folks like, people just don't quit. Quitting jobs is what we hear on YouTube.
Yeah.
We don't see that in real life. So when I quit my job, people were like, wait a minute, this real estate thing that you're doing, this is really serious. Are you a licensed agent? I was like, no, but I have a licensed agent. So when I quit my job now, when I speak, especially on Facebook, you follow me on Facebook, there may be a few people who pay attention from time to time.
Yeah, I think that's great. I wish my friends were more interested in it because this sounds so arrogant. My biggest fear is that I'm going to retire kind of relatively young, and all my friends are going to be working still, and I'm going to have no one to hang out
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, when the first 3 months of no real job were probably the worst, because I thought I did something wrong. I was like, I was used to, being in the office. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Like, I didn't understand. So, um, all my friends are at work. I do have a few that are entrepreneurs, but for the most part, I can't talk to you until after 5 o'clock for the most part.
Yeah, I I just try to be really practical with my time. I think it's hard being your own boss. Like you've got to like, well,
Yeah.
you should work a little bit more than you've done today, Rob, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good that we have the freedom. Like 3 hour Chipotle lunches, no problem. Why not? Albeit we cannot eat Chipotle right now, but the concept still remains. So okay, so we had Frank speak last night.
Yep.
Someone was on the edge about doing Frank's class, what would you tell them for the Believe class?
I'll give them my personal experience. You either pay now or you're going to pay later. That's real simple. If you're going to be in real estate, you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. Fortunately for us, we paid prior and then we paid for Frank. And now I get to not make those same stupid mistakes that I did. Frank's class, it's a 6 months course. And I'm literally, he lays it out to you on a silver platter on what to do and what not to do. And if you don't believe me, let's go over to a flip and see what it looks like. Mm-hmm. And so now the flips that we're doing, and even some of the rehabs that we're doing now, when I see something that's down to the studs, 5 years ago, I would have passed up a nice Shively house for 50 grand because it was down to the studs, not knowing I could sell it for 150 grand after I threw some drywall up. After taking Frank's class, that doesn't scare me anymore. So if it doesn't scare me anymore, now that's an opportunity to make even more money. I did my first flip. The second flip we bought during Frank's class, and we sold it like a couple months after his class ended, right during the whole COVID thing. And unfortunately, we had to keep it an additional month, but 30 grand, made 30 grand off that flip. So, using the tools that Frank gave me and, some ingenuity, like I would have not done that about a year or so ago. I wouldn't have done it.
One thing that's interesting about you though, is you were already in the space, in the game. You had it. So a lot of people just have like, oh, I've been there, done that. Too much pride, like to say I need further education. Like it's worth it. I don't know. I think that's cool that you're able to do that because we all need to work on bettering ourselves and invest in ourselves. And I don't know.
And real estate is all about investing and mindset. So the average person's mindset is you get a house, you have a car, 2.5 kids, and you work every day. The average person isn't thinking, yes, you can work every day. Yes, you can have the kids and the family, but you can also have 3 houses. Mm-hmm. So the average person can't get past getting one house. So it's like, I have one house. I don't know about getting 2 to 3 houses. Hell, if you live in an apartment and you have good credit and some money laying around, that's probably even better for you because your debt to income ratio is even lower living in an apartment. So it's all about mindset. And if we can't help folks move the needle on that mindset, then we're probably beating a dead drum right there.
One thing that I actually really, really liked is like, if I wanted to, could I afford a Kia car that's going to make me no money? And then like relative to just getting a house for the same price, but it actually generates you. I think that's a good way to look at it. I never really look at it like that. And I think that's very prudent. Okay. So if people want to get to know you a little bit more or reach out to you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Facebook, my page, about 2 years ago, when I no longer work for anybody, about 2 years ago, I made my page public. So anybody, you can befriend me on my page and it's my name. I'm not hiding from anyone. It's Donnie Adkins on Facebook, on Instagram. I post a lot of the same information. I deal with business, finance, and real estate stuff. I post a lot of the pictures that I do. I'll talk to anyone. People have questions. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever you want to think of. I don't charge.
Yeah.
I do a lot of that stuff for free because I can talk real estate all day. So if you want to listen all day, I'll talk all day, and we can talk about all aspects. And if there's something I don't know, I'll tell you. It's like I don't know about commercial. I don't know a lot about it. But there's a lot of YouTube videos out there. I know you. I know Frank.
We're in good shape. Yeah,
I'll
there's
call
so many
somebody.
people willing to help.
Yeah, so many people. And lastly, I would tell people definitely join CREA. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions, unfortunately, about CREA, about people not helping, and that doesn't. I've never seen that. Only because when I go in, I already have a gang of business cards, and I'm passing out business cards, and I'm asking people, I'm getting advice. You know, even before people start pitching houses, I already have some deals. I was like, there's some possible deals at this table that I'm at. So, I mean, if you want to make money in anything, even if it's in corporate America, whatever you're doing, you have to get out of your shell. And if you're going to stay in your shell, then chances are you're probably going to be where you are for the long term.
Yeah, no growth. I mean, the butterflies have to come out of their cocoon to be both.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, but Donnie, thank you so much for coming. I can't wait for all of us to be able to just, at Gibson's last thing outside his yard, we were able to kind of see each other, but I'm excited to be able to get everyone back together and hang out. Thank you everyone for seeing us at noon. Let me check. Do anybody have any questions in the chat? Loretta Showalter would like you to share your information.
Oh.
He's sharing it, Loretta. I think I see some typing.
Yeah, and that's oh, see, look, I sent that private. I don't even know who I sent it to.
Mine does that sometimes. I think you probably sent it to Jeannie Brown.
Let's see. And like you can call, text. I'm on Facebook as Donnie Adkins. Very, very easy to find.
Perfect. Guys, thank you again. We will see you soon at noon. Thanks, Donnie. We appreciate you.